For those of you who are in my A30 class, this will look familiar to you. This is the independent reading module, and it is something that you will work on through February and into March to the last week of the block. You manage your time on this and you meet with me once a week to talk about what you're reading. Choose a fiction novel from anywhere in the world except for Canada, and I would challenge you to avoid North America so that you can learn about somewhere else in the world or another culture, customs, a different perspective, that kind of thing. It's a world lit class, so push yourself a little bit. Once you choose a novel, please enter it into this Google form here, and I will notify the Central Library. I recommended 6 books and ensured that there are some copies in the Central Library. There are not enough copies for all of you, but we might be able to find them in other libraries in the division as well. So this was the list that I provided. And just because I put these 6 books out there does not mean you don't have a choice in choosing anything else. But if you are interested in these, if you could rank them down here, you might not get your first choice, but depending on what's available. It's important that you plan out a reading schedule and be consistent, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, whatever you are going to need in order to get through what your, how long your book is. And then every third of your book, we will Zoom and talk about it. So here's those recommendations. There's a little preview. If you click on the link, it'll take you to the Goodreads site where it gives you a little bit of information, page numbers, ratings, plot summary, all the good stuff. While you read, I would recommend that you keep a reader's notebook. You can use sticky notes or just make notes. I've had students use the Notes app on their phone. Some will keep notes in a Google Doc. Some will actually write out notes into a notebook. It doesn't matter. You can make notes on the literary elements of the book, make chapter summaries, you can sketch things out, whatever kind of works for you. I tend to collect important quotes, things that I connect to, things that I think are important. And these notes, you bring them to the Zoom Reader Conference and we use them as a jump off point and for examples. I don't use chapter questions. When we meet, I will use these sample conference questions to guide the discussion. I actually really enjoy it when you folks lead the discussion. There's a whole variety of different kinds of questions here, and I'll use this if either of us gets stuck. Here is an example of me conferring with students a few years ago. The division came out to watch what I was doing. So it just gives you an idea of the types of questions that I ask. And then at the end, after all the conversations and at the end of the class, I'd like you to do a book talk on your novel and share it with the class. This is really the only group activity that we do. So I have a site set up here on Flipgrid, and that link will take you right there. Join with your Microsoft. And it brings you here, and it gives you the instructions. Again, the instructions are also listed on the Moodle assignment, and I will put a couple examples in here before you guys get to this. And that is the independent reading module.